PLCs with that quad tech set stuff, don't worry about it. I wasn't going to, that was not my intent. We're going to have the Striving Reader people come in here, and then we can have them just train us on it. We don't have to do all of that homework. That was not my intent at all. So that I've already sent the email to Audra, so the quad tech set, that stuff, don't worry about it. Also, please, I figure that brings some smile, light y'all up a little bit. All right, please, when you go to your rooms, when you leave here, go to your Google Classroom, sign in, go to Professional Learning, if you would, and then go to School Climate Survey, and we need to complete that, click on that, Zane. And then you have to go to here, right. And then please complete the school climate survey, okay? We can do that this morning. Email your department chair when you finish, and then the department chair just email me that all of your departments have finished. For my ECHIS, like my counselors and people like that, just email me that you have finished it, if you're not part of the department.
Dr.
Okay, ma'am?
We did a survey. What survey was that we did? Do y'all remember? Did we do it with PLC last? I don't know. I just know I've done a survey, but I don't know what it
Was it the school
That's what I'm
climate?
trying to
I
remember.
think
What
we did
it
that with PLC.
was like how safe you feel.
Yeah, well, y'all already done that?
I think so.
We've done that.
We did that during PLC.
Yeah. All right, if you have not done it, if you don't remember doing it,
Just do it.
please do it, okay?
It was with
Did it look like this?
Well, we must watch. Scroll down a little bit. Yeah,
I
we
mean, you
did
can remember
that.
this.
Yes.
Yeah, we did this.
That's it right there?
That's it.
All right, good.
I should know if it was a different one. But if it was the same one, we did that one. Some of us did.
Did it look like this?
It was, yeah, it was in the platform.
It was in there, and then you had to answer. It was like so many pages. And there's another section.
Yeah, I ain't talking about uploading now.
No,
Okay,
you got to
climate
how
survey.
safe you
Oh,
feel. How
right.
this,
Okay, y'all already, if you have not done it, please go and
to make it,
complete that.
it's
Okay. All right, I know that your department chairs have talked to you about our advisory meeting. At least they should have by now. That's when we moved it to Thursday, so they'll have time to talk to y'all about it. I'm looking at your faces. I don't know if they had a chance. Have y'all had a chance, those department chairs, be with you?
I talked to them individually, and talked to them and agreed.
What about what we talked about?
Yes, sir.
What about, you did? Okay. Are there any questions or concerns about that? Anything that we talked about in advisory? Everybody get talked to? Everybody know what I'm talking about?
I got it.
Okay, all right, we'll send out the,
I was at it yesterday.
oh, wait. Yeah. We'll get with the department chair. Department chairs, please, the reason we moved to Thursday to give you all opportunity to go over what we talked about in advisory meeting. Whether you do it individually, whether you do it as a group, what I'll do is I'll send out the minutes so that you all can see what we discussed. One of the things we did discuss, well, I'll let Ms. Singer, I'll turn it over to Ms. Singer. Go ahead.
One of the things that we had talked about the other day was when you guys are sending your tests. I've gotten some tests from some people, but I've only gotten about 6 tests. And so when I get your tests, what I have to do is look at them to look at how much they align with a milestone. And we need to make sure that we are going in and using, like if you go to your milestone resource packet for your classes, and even if you don't have a milestone, I would still use the packet because our questions have to be higher DOK level. And what's happening when our kids take the milestone test, they know the content, but it's the way the question is asked that's throwing them off. So what they're not used to are the skill words and the directive words, okay? That's why we have the content vocabulary and the directional vocabulary. But if you look at it, what's happening is these words right here, when it asks them like, this is physical science, for example, and if you notice, they're really the same. If you look at history, if you look at literature, they're all about the same. But their test questions that they're seeing are things like, this is a level 3, but plan and predict and create, design. They have a lot of 2-part questions. So when it asks them a question, like a lot of people have multiple choice, you know, which is our level 1, which they still have some of that on the test. They have the short answer, they have the constructive response. But when we do our constructive response, we got to make sure that we're asking them like to explain and to analyze. And then they have a lot of 2-part questions on their milestone, which it asks them a question and then it always goes back and asks them to justify their reasoning or cite evidence. And those 2-part questions, when they take that milestone, that's a lot of what's killing our scores, because these written responses on the milestone weigh a lot heavier than the multiple choice do, okay? And what's killing them is they know the content, but for some reason, when they analyze our scores, our students only answer 1 part. So they get that first part, they can explain and they can describe it, but when they have to justify and cite their text, they leave that whole part off. So it automatically kills their score, and they don't really get credit for what they've answered because they didn't answer the whole question, if that makes sense. But like level 4 here, analyzing and create, they don't have a whole lot of those, and you're not going to have a lot of those because that's a DOK 4, which is going to be used a lot of times in your projects that you guys do once in 9 weeks. But this right here, like these questions, if you'll pull up your milestone resource guide from the DOE website and look at those types of questions, that's what we need to be seeing on our test. Dr. Hinton the other day, when we went over it and we got to look at, most of our tests say who, what, why did this happen, why did so-and-so react this way, what happens to the chemical reaction if, blah, blah, blah. And we need to be getting them to do more explaining and designing and then justifying. They need to be able to justify the answers, because those words, that's what's throwing them off. It's not that they don't know the content, it's just they're just not using those type of questions. So we need to make sure when we're doing our test that those are the kind of questions. And if you look over here on the side where it says skills demonstrated, it gives you examples of like ways to start your questions, you know, to get them to answer using that correct milestone vocabulary. And then if you go up here like number 2, these are the kind of words that they need to be using, because basically when they look at our tests and stuff, what she's coming up with is that the tests and stuff that we're given, they're not aligning to what they have on the milestones. So if we're teaching them the content, they got it, but the way they're asking them, they're not going to get it when it comes time to take the test, because the test is so rigorous. But now, like I said, I've only gotten a few tests. I haven't gotten my test that I turned in the other day. I had 6. And yes.
Do you want a hard copy or electronic or both? How you want that?
You can send me electronic, that's fine, because what I'm having to do is take the test and I'm having to go through it and look at how it aligns to the milestone.
And you want broken down by elements and standards?
You just have your standard element standard, but all that needs to be at the top, because I have to be able to justify it. But like I said, I didn't have one for every content area. So,
Okay.
you know, I got to make sure I get them from everybody, because when I have them, it looks like we've only given 6 tests, you know, all 9 weeks. So,
Them in the Dropbox or just email?
no, you just email them to me, yeah. But we got to make sure, and like she said, GoFar. Some of you are really using GoFar questions, and a lot of you are using them. I know science especially. Y'all are using them for your tickets out the door and stuff. So that's good. We've got to use GoFar resources, because the GoFar resources are, and remember guys, it documents how many times you even go in there. So they're telling us to use them. They know who's using them and who's not using them. We really need to use them resources, because those questions, those are derived from the milestone. So that's going to get your children used to answering these type of
You have any
questions.
separate questions on this? When I went to the principal's meeting, Friday, or whatever, no, what's the day, Thursday, I guess it was Monday. Doc had these sample questions, and math, and I mean, I know y'all looked at these questions, and I was looking at I'm gonna be totally honest with you, I was looking at 5th grade questions. And it had the question there, and I can answer you know, you can look at the question, but then it had about 3 other parts to it.
That's what matters.
So you answer the question, then you gotta write how you got there, and then it had one question where you had to, it was written out one way, and then it asked the student to rewrite the same problem like another way. Like if it was, I can't remember which one it was, but if it was like division, not simple division, you know, all the what y'all do in math, but it was asking them to rewrite it a certain way, and then it's no longer just write the answer, it's explain it, and it's got different parts to it. So if we're not testing our students in that way, needless to say, on those type questions, they're not gonna be successful. And like I told one group in the debriefing, we are better off with those type questions. We're better off, because on the average, that group I had, I said, on the average, what's the number of questions you give on the test? It was 20, kind of the normal, 20, 15, kind of the normal answers. And I told them, with those type questions, you better off giving them 5 problems. With that level of question, giving them 5 problems and making sure they do it right, than giving them 15 or 20 multiple choice. Because, you know, you have to grade them. So you don't want to give them, you know, you don't want to do 20 different problems, but we have to start adding those type of problems into our text. Because we keep doing multiple choice, that's just recall. And these were all level 3 questions.
It won't let you just go to a page.
And they were all, I think they may have sent it to me. And they were all 2 or 3 parts to it. In math, English, science, all of it. She gave us an example of, had American Lit, and she gave us an example packet of every content area that has a milestone. And we looked at those questions. And I was like, wow. So if we don't test them like that. I remember when real quick, when my daughter was in the 4th grade, I went over to a conference, and the teacher was giving them, she was having problems with word problems. Well, the teacher was giving them like a word problem with a 1-sentence word problem. And then as soon as I looked at the test, I knew what the problem was. She was giving 1-sentence word problems, but on the test, the word problem was a whole paragraph. And it took me 2 seconds. I said, well, here's the problem right here. You're giving 1-sentence word problems on the practice, and then when you give them a test, you give them a whole paragraph. So that's like me practicing a kid for the 100-meter dash and then sending him out there to run the 2 miles. It just ain't gonna happen. So please look at those type questions. Look at those type questions. And I don't, you know, you can do the test like you want to do them, but when you give those type questions, if you want to shorten those tests, you can do that. Because they need to see those type questions and they need to be familiar with those type questions. Because if they're not, when they get on the milestone, they're not going to even have a chance. And they're level 3 questions, and it is analyze, you know, synthesize, and all of these terms that we put in our lesson plans, and we need to make sure that these students understand these questions. Okay? All right. Good. All right, any questions on the test being sent? If you hadn't sent your past test, go ahead and send them. I know you had a question.
Ms. Ingram, if we do our test on Schoology, how do you want us to go about doing that? Just send you an email and say it's on Schoology or something? Because I know you can see mine, because you're asking my question.
Did you have to input it in Schoology? Do you have a copy of it, a file of it, or is it just, you created it in Schoology?
I created it in
Just, can
Schoology.
you print it off, go in there and print one off, and just give it to me? And those of you that sent me yours, I've gone in on some of them, and giving you some feedback and everything on them, on just how to tweak some things and change them.
Now, y'all, the reference-based test, that's nothing new. We've been doing that to where we put the standard and we put those questions, that standard applies to. That's something we started several years ago. So that's really nothing new. So if I got 5 questions, then that's the standard that those questions come from. That's something we should have been doing all along. You got a question, Mr. Rand? Okay. All right, anything else? All right, remember, passing along, department chairs tell us, don't worry about the quad set text, we're gonna do that a different way. All right, thank you so much,
Am I
have a
the
great
only
day.
one-
Oh,
I'm concerned about Monday. Am I the only one worried about Monday, the mentor thing?
Yeah, what is that?
oh, Monday, the mentor, yeah, update us, thank you.
You will have your notebooks there.
Okay.
With your classes, and your classes will go, well, the students will go in the lunchroom to see where they are. Your mentor will be in your classroom. In your classroom, for people who are not in their classroom, I've already talked to them with it.
Now, it's gonna be kind of, because it's the first day, getting kids where they belong, it's gonna kind of be all over the place. But once you get your kids, then, those are the kids you'll have. And I think what we probably need to do is, because you're talking about having the kids go look and see what teacher they belong to.
Yes,
What we probably need to do is in one department, tell the kids.
they're gonna do it in the science department.
Oh, okay, gonna tell the kids where they need to go. That'll
And
work.
have their-
Okay.
These notebooks we'll get to that, right?
Yes,
Are they, is one for just the teacher, for all the kids that we're gonna
it's
be
for
doing?
the teachers with your.
And that will lay out what we gotta do?
Yes.
Okay,
It's
that's
just
my
like the
question.
PLC was, what, you know, you had the little, just like that, with your lessons in place for each one.
Okay.
And y'all remember, this is a SACS requirement. And we'll be walking, well, I got a group, but we have some administrators that be walking around checking that thing. This needs to go the entire period. We don't need to walk and open the door and they just sitting there smoking and joking. And then when I look at the teacher, you tell me, oh, we're done. Follow the lesson plan because we will be monitored on this. And we'll probably record some sessions so we'll have some artifacts.
Ms. Smith sent out, it will be in your notebook too, but she sent out ahead of time so you could look at it. The schedule that day, lunch is 30 minutes earlier, each class period is 40 minutes. There's a little, it goes third, lunch, and fourth, 6 and 7.
How long is the mentoring class?
40 minutes, everything is 40.
All right. Thank you.